Wake up, everybody, and welcome back to Sanctuary. We are never free to play, just Jason and I this time because we're the coolest cats on this channel, and we play Diablo 4. We played the beta, and we have some impressions. Jason really wants to talk about them. I don't want to talk about them, so let's go ahead and do that.
Let's do
Jason,
it.
how did you like it? Did you like it? Yes or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I would say overall thumbs up from me. There were
I
some
would say thumbs up for me too.
Okay, good. There were some things that I didn't like about it, but I'd like to focus more on the things that I did like about it.
So you played just one session last night, right?
Yeah, so unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do a bunch of different classes like what I wanted, but I did talk to people who like were big Diablo fans, played a lot of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, and they had an opportunity to play multiple classes. So I did get like some thoughts on it from people that I trust their opinion. What about you?
I mean, aside from you, I didn't talk to nobody about it. I had actually joked about it the other day with you and some of our other friends that I was tired of listening to other people's opinions about Diablo, like listening to people complain about or even praise Diablo 4 in the closed like pre-order beta last week. I was just like, I either thought you were a shill or you were like the worst troll ever, just hating on everything for no reason. I just couldn't stand their opinions anymore, and so I'm done listening to people talk about Diablo in general.
So, in terms of what you liked about it, what was your favorite aspect of the beta?
Easily my favorite aspect of the beta of what Diablo 4 is going to be, because I only got to about level 14 as far as my character is, and I don't think I came close to finishing Act 1, which I know they let you get to the end of Act 1 in the beta. I liked it, and my favorite aspect was the presentation. I really enjoy the aesthetic they're going for. I like, for the most part, the way that they're delivering the story. I don't like the story at all so far. I think it's really so far it's everything I didn't like about Diablo 3's story. And near the end of my time with it earlier today, they're doing that thing I really hate with Diablo 3, which is they give you some little character to slowly plod along and just talk in your ear constantly. I'm like, I'm the main character. You're not the main character, whoever you are. I don't even care, because for the sake of not spoiling per se, because it's all like, this is the game basically. I just I'll save the story for when I'm playing at my own pace when we get there. And so I was skipping all the conversations, which is not something I normally do when I play games, but I'm also just I can already kind of see, I just don't care. I'm like, oh, I have to find my mom and she fell to Lilith, blah, blah, blah. And it's that kind of, I just can't stand it. Whereas in the old days, and I don't want to compare too much to D2, Diablo 2, but in the old days, it was just, you would stumble across a thing, or there was some quest text, or you could go talk to people who knew important things in town later, but everything else was environmental. And I just kind of want to go back to that, but we're not. And so I'm a little bit bummed about that.
That's fair, but I think most people who play this probably aren't playing it for the story. I mean,
it's not about if you're playing it for the story or not. I'm not playing it for the story either, but it's there and it should be good. And and when the presentation otherwise is so great, there's this it becomes even more grating when you have this aspect that I don't like.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I actually skipped through a lot of the story points. I gotta say, I love the cinematics. I mean, they look incredible. They look
definitely,
almost photorealistic. So, but I did skip through them because I kind of, in a way, even though we're downplaying the story, I love the cinematics, and so I'm like, ooh, I don't want to see all of that. I want to experience that as a full package.
I did the same thing.
Game comes, so, but I did watch a little bit of the ones that they have shown in trailers in their beta form, and amazing. I love just from a gameplay perspective. It felt like Diablo in a lot of ways. It felt very familiar, which I appreciated, but then they made some small tweaks that I actually rather enjoyed, that were just little quality of life things. And maybe I didn't play a ton of Diablo 3 past literally the first month of release, on PC, way back before it came to console. So I don't really know how it ended up in its final form, and I've slept a lot since then. So, but for instance, the mana bar, I'm fine not micromanaging my mana bar with potions. I'm liking just concentrate on the health and basically having a cooldown / regenerative mana.
Yeah, no, that's all pretty much exactly like it used to be. In fact, the combat is almost completely copy pasted over from D3, but it left behind so far. Again, I've only gotten to level 15. I've played probably a total of 4 or 5 hours at the most, and so everything feels just like it did, but better. The combat just feels better. I was playing the druid. I played a little bit of the werebear, a lot of the werewolf, and just doing basic melee attacks, despite them not necessarily being as effective as I wish they were, feel good to do. It got really like cartoonish and ragdolly a lot of the time. If you weren't doing some like straight up area of effect attack constantly, like for instance a barbarian's whirlwind at D3, doing single target attacks just didn't feel good, and it feels a lot better in this. And then all that, like you said, all that like quality of life stuff, being able to swap your skills around easily, the way that they handled the resources, whether it's mana or energy or spirit, etc. It's good. I like it.
Yeah. No, it's really nice. It's interesting to hear you praise the melee, because some of the feedback that I heard is that just in terms of like kind of power level and how easily you can get through enemies, they were saying that the melee characters felt underpowered compared to like a sword.
They do. No, they do. But like I said, when I say feel, I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean the tactile, but like the actual, like if I were just to break it down to numbers and effectiveness, Barbarian was, I think, the weakest overall from what I hear. I didn't get a lot of, I didn't see a lot of opinions about Druid, but I tried the Werebear at first, and I was kind of spreading myself thin skill-wise, like, so you pump in points into the tree and you unlock additional nodes as you pump more points in, and I was kind of just, all right, I went down the Werebear path, but I was just picking the first skill in each node, and so everything was like respectively kind of weak, and so I respec the Werewolf, pumped all my points into the first couple of skills that just do the damage, and maybe I was just kind of doing it wrong, but like it was too easy to make that mistake. Thankfully, like refunding it's super cheap, and I like that, but it's not completely free. I like a little give and take when it comes to these kinds of things, because I don't necessarily want to re-roll a Druid 7,000 times, but I also don't want to just have one Druid who can do whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. What difficulty did you play on?
I just picked the normal one,
okay.
the bit like the non-additional. There was like 2 or 3 additional like difficulties, and I just picked the first one.
Josh and Kane were playing veteran, so that's what I played, and I found it like in a party of 3 to be pretty comfortable. Like we weren't cakewalking through everything, but we weren't dying at every turn, so that was kind of nice.
Did you struggle at any point?
We did. There was once where they had a total party kill at a boss fight, and then other than that, it was just like one of us may have died at a given time, but it's pretty forgiving on the deaths. Like you kind of just respawn not too far away from the battle that you were in, so that's kind of nice. I don't know. Part of me wants to be a little more hardcore and be like, there should be more of a punishment for dying. But then I'm like, but the fun factor of being able to just get back in the fight.
I mean, what was the punishment? What kind of punishment are you talking about? You hate punishments.
I know, I do. Where you lose your loot and you have to go pick up your body. Like, there's none of that. Like, you don't lose your gear. I think you get like 10%, of a damage on your weapons or something like that you'll have to go repair.
And that'll be problematic later. Like and I remember that because it was in D3. If you're dying constantly, you need to stop and take down the difficulty, go fight something different, because the money it costs to repair starts rising exponentially when you get to higher levels with better gear. And it's nothing at first. You can just sneeze at it, but later on, if you try that tactic, you're gonna go poor really fast. And if they're smart, gold will matter for more than just durability in your armor and weapons, and then you won't want to make that mistake over and over again.
Well, the same goes for the skill tree restatting. The more you do
exactly.
it, the more expensive that it gets in gold.
See, that's the perfect kind of give and take, because in D3, it was free. As long as you weren't in combat, which I assume is the same here. I didn't try to do it in the middle of combat, but you couldn't swap out the runes on your skills. So in D3, you unlocked the skills as you leveled up, and then you unlocked runes as you leveled up, and then you would swap runes and skills out, and that was how you modified them and made them stronger based on your gear, etc. But it was free. There was just nothing to it at that point. Whereas this, there is a little bit of a cost, and then there's Paragon levels as you reach level 50. This was like the tip of the iceberg. So like it's really hard to judge how much fun this is going to be in the long term. But I can see myself getting to the end of this game and having a pretty good time, just by myself, let alone, once you and I and Robert group up and all that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, we played in a party last night and it was a lot of fun. And like they made me the party leader so they could do my quests. And and it seemed like they were leveling up even though they were already a much higher level than me.
Everything's scaled as far as I'm aware, at least in the regular content, when you're partied, even when you're not partied, everything scales roughly to your level or everybody's level. So like whatever they were, it didn't matter what you were and all that stuff, and all the enemies were, about the same.
It's a pretty clever way that they must have done it behind the scenes, because it's almost as if you do less damage to an enemy and take more damage as a way of level setting. Did you look into anything about the renown system?
No, I saw I was gaining renown. So there's a negative thing. There's too much of that. There's just one too many things to check and look at. Like I
Yep.
hate it's got that crappy mobile game style
Yes.
thing where you achieve something. And I don't mind achievements. Diablo 3 had achievements. All the Blizzard games for like going almost on 2 decades now have some sort of achievement like system. But then you have to go claim a reward, and it's not just a pittance. I got a whole skill point for doing something. I didn't even know it was there until like 3 levels after I had acquired it. And so like, but I hate that stuff.
Yep.
It's stupid.
I agree with that assessment. It makes it cheapens the experience a little for me. Like you said, it's got that mobile game feel, and that
Right.
that like leads me to believe that once you start getting into the 3 months post launch where we have seasons and we've got all this stuff and we have season pass and maybe seasons is what transcends like ladder. Maybe ladder's not a thing anymore. Who knows how it works? There's infinite number of ways they can monetize this. It already has that cheapened look with some of the mechanics and things to track that are just there. And then I could just see that all being monetized in one way or another. And even if it's doesn't make you any more competitive, and I don't know, I just feel like it's going to cheapen the whole thing for me. And I hope it doesn't.
It will, because D3 did something. D3 had seasons, like they had ladders and seasons and stuff like that, and there was always like they would change up something and give it a kind of a theme, especially near the end, or in the middle near the end, like kind of just how they do it now. Don't quote me on this, but if I'm recalling correctly, there is gonna be like a battle pass going forward. It'll just be a cosmetic battle pass though, and I think that's the part where I don't want you to quote. I know there's gonna be a battle pass. I just think it's only cosmetic stuff, but it doesn't matter, because the second that stuff starts to creep into a game, I do immediately lose respect for it. I didn't want to compare this to D2, and I'm not comparing it per se, but in 3 years, I'll probably have logged more hours from this moment in Diablo 2 Resurrected than I have D4. Yeah. Unless I'm just like completely wrong about my assessment of what they want out of this game, what I experienced, I will go back to Diablo 2 Resurrected and just grind out 3 or 4 classes again, like I have for 1,000 times now, and I'll just enjoy it more. There's nothing I can't escape its gravitational pull on my heartstrings. Before we go, how did you played more multiplayer, both directly with your friends, but then like after you get to a certain point, people just start appearing on your map. Like, how did you feel about this kind of pseudo MMO light kind of situation?
So it's funny. What I told Kane is like the thing I don't like about MMOs is the first M. And what I mean by that, and I've kind of stated this on here before, is where it feels like you guys are just like moving in this massive wave, just like through these carnival attractions, where you kind of have to like wait your turn to do the next thing. It did not have that feel. It was like a lowercase m MO.
Yeah.
And so I didn't mind it. There was just kind of these people in the world, but not as much as like Path of Exile. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really mind it. It was cool. It even looked like there was a way to like potentially initiate trade with randos, which is something that I kind of miss about the original Diablo 2.
You do love interacting with randoms.
I do. I hope they put like voice proximity chat in here one day. I could just...
You know, check out PvP?
No, I was never into PvP.
Me neither. I hated it in Diablo 2, and it was basically non-existent in Diablo 3. It's kind of sad that they dropped the ball so hard on that. I think they're going to try to make an effort to have it in D4. We'll see, though. I don't think it was available during the beta.
Ooh, one other thing I have to mention is, how did you feel about the map where you could set your waypoint and then it gave you like a critical path?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And did it not feel a little linear to you?
Oh, what I don't like about it is that it absolutely makes it feel linear, and I was more than happy to just turn it off, and I was fine enough having like a waypoint. It goes both ways. Like, so it's literally a minute to minute thing. Sometimes I'm in the mood to like lose myself, and then I leave a dungeon and I'm back in the open world. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go to this place. I do love how snappy teleporting around is. You can use your town portal whenever to go back to the main city.
That is really nice.
And there's lots of waypoints. It's just really generous, and of course it's really quick if you have like good hardware or decent enough hardware. Just a couple more like random things that I really liked. I love the druid character model. The male druid character model is really good. These big dude. I picked one of the stock templates. I'm like, this is good. I like how much I see my character, both when I open the menu and then when I, like, you can zoom in. I didn't because I was playing controller. It's really difficult to zoom in on controller. But you just see your character more. Even as the at first I thought I'd hate it as a druid. Your shapeshift is very temporary. So you do an attack and you turn into the animal, and then after a couple seconds of not attacking, you jump out of it. But that means I get to see my character more often and the cool gear that he's got equipped, so that's fun. and I really liked his voice. He reminds me of Volibear from League of Legends, who is a giant walking, talking, murderous polar bear. And a couple, he sounds, it's a fairly generic, gruff sounding dude, but it just fits the character really well.
Yeah, the little character selector thing was kind of neat. How you could click into a class, then select male, female, and then from there were like sub stock templates. It was kind of neat to have more than one option.
Yeah, there's a fairly robust like customizing. I'll play around with that at the full game. I wasn't gonna waste time on it on the beta, but I'll make them look like the way I want to. What did you play?
I just played a source. Yeah, I mean, I went down the fire or the ice path initially, and it wasn't really doing anything for me, so I had to go down, kind of reset to lightning, and that worked a little bit better.
Cool.
But I liked it. I like the spells. I like the way they look. I heard Hydra is like one of the coolest spells. I didn't get to see it, which I was a little bummed about because I didn't play for quite that long. But yeah. In conclusion here, because we want to keep it short, I guess what I'll say is I still like it. I still want to go back and play it. I'll probably still buy it within the launch window, and you know, I want to experience Diablo 4. There was a lot that they've done well going on.
Yeah, it's a very competent game. Like I said, I am here for the aesthetic, and there's a lot I do like about what little story I saw, the way they tell it. I just hope there's not too much of that stuff I complained about earlier, but I am absolutely going to play this from, start to finish. It just might be a flavor of the month thing, that's all. I think it's $70 too, which is kind of a bummer.
That is kind of a bummer. I mean, but there may be a pre-order bonus, and then who knows how this plays if and when it ever comes to Game Pass. So there's a lot to figure out here.
Yeah, I won't be able to resist for that long though.
I know, same here.
Yeah, no, we're a little over 2 months away from release, so there's a lot of time for other stuff to come out, and like news and updates and things to entice you. If you had a chance to get in, I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you didn't, there's going to be a lot of people talking about this game for the next 2 months for you to form your opinion on. But but basically this, if you liked D3, get this game. Like, look forward to it, because it's more of that, but with the promise of 5 or 10 more years of support on this new title, with people coming in and playing and stuff.
All right, well, later, Skater. I love this podcast when it happens. I love video games, and I love you too, lovely NFers. You guys are out there. Have a fantastic week. We will try, but we are never to play.
Bye.
Bye.